Hey guys, it's TFNut. Welcome back to the channel, and today I am doing my first ever collection video here on the channel. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to do one for a while. I told myself the next time I need to, if I get any time to start cleaning off my shelves that I put my action figures on, I need to do a collection video. I'm not doing everything at once today, of course, and I don't even know when the next time I'll do another one of these videos is, but I'm going from top to bottom on the shelves I need to clean, and also stuff I need to figure out if I need to get rid of anything. So I decided to start with the top shelf, which is my anime figure collection. If some of you are not super familiar with my channel and you came across this video randomly, first of all, hi. And second, I don't mainly collect anything like statues or Nendoroids or other small collectibles or stuff in between that. I mostly go for the articulated, higher end, and high detailed, as well as stuff that comes with more accessories type figures. So if that's not really a cup of your tea, unfortunately, that's what I am mostly showing in this video. Not that I don't own any of that, and I have anything against any of that stuff. It's just not prominent in my collection. I don't really own much of stuff like that. Just a lot of articulated stuff. So what I'm going to do is start with stuff I have the most of. Then we'll get towards the bottom I have the least amount of stuff of. And I will quickly go over, I guess my favorite thing about each of the figures in my collection. I'm going to do it really quick because we'll be here all day if I don't. So as you see, we're going to start with Dragon Ball. I have a lot of stuff from Dragon Ball, including stuff from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. I don't think I own anything from the original Dragon Ball series, actually. But yeah, I still got a lot of stuff I wanted to show to you guys. And it's mostly out of the box. But as I start, and you're going to see a lot of shifting around, unfortunately. I'm going to try to make it as stable as possible here, but I'm doing a lot of this freehand. One thing that is kept in the box is my full power Broly here, or my Super Saiyan Broly, really. So I did review this actually last year, and it was out of the box, but it broke right after review. And that same week I reviewed it, it was shipped to me from Big Bad Toy Store. Contacted them, said, hey, I can ship this back to you guys. I would like a replacement or maybe some replacement parts. They just gave me an entirely new figure, which is actually really great of them. It's like an $80 figure. I still have the broken one here. I've kept this one in the box just in case there is that issue with the neck peg that I had previously, which broke. I'll keep it in the box for now. Maybe it will retain its value, maybe not. It's whatever. Maybe, if I get a bigger shelf, I'll put this on the shelf, but for now it's being kept in the box in storage somewhere in my apartment just because I don't have room to put that big old boy in there. But besides the thing breaking, it was a pretty awesome figure. I do have two different Piccolos. Now, I don't have this out, but I do own the original Piccolo. That's like one of the first ever SH Figuarts figures in the line, all the way back from like 2014, 2015 maybe. I could be wrong, but it's definitely one of the earliest, not just Dragon Ball SH Figuarts, but one of the earliest SH Figuarts in the entire line. I don't have that on me right now, and parts of it are scratched up and broken, unfortunately. Age has not been too great to that thing. But we do have the 2020 and 2021 version, I believe, whatever time that was supposed to be, of the Proud Namekian version of Piccolo, one of my favorite characters from the series. And with this one here, the only thing is that the stern faces on this are kind of off. I mean, they definitely look like Piccolo, but just not really too recognizable of Piccolo that I'm used to, I guess. The other faces for this are pretty fantastic, and it's still a really nice figure that they pretty much borrowed everything with, trying to focus up here, with the last year's version of the superhero Piccolo, which I personally like a lot more. I just wish that came with a stern head. It only really comes with some, screaming faces or action faces, and then just this smirk face. But this is a really fantastic looking figure. We also have the Evil Boo or Super Boo, and I did review that actually recently. It got re-released last year into this year, and I'm so glad to finally have this one. This is one villain figure I really needed in the collection, and it is really fantastic. Besides the ankles, which I feel like they should have been updated, they're not great on this figure. Everything else about it is fantastic. Love this figure so much. And then we have the Armored Broly, which I'm really happy I have in my collection. So that's sold out a lot more than I thought it would. I think it took a little while for it to sell out, just kind of like with a lot of other Dragon Ball stuff. But I felt like this one would stay in stock for a while because more people would go to this. This is a really awesome figure too. I thought for a while this was the only Broly I really needed, but then I got this, and I finally am happy I have both. This here from Super Broly movie is really, really fantastic. I did have a paint rub on the bicep of one of mine. I was able to get that off. So it's pretty much back to the original condition that I like for it. And I love that figure. Some of the stuff is newer and some of the stuff is older. I have not reviewed yet, but I did but earlier this year I did review the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, which is a fantastic figure. Slightly better, in my opinion, than the Super Saiyan 4 version of Goku. It's mostly the ankles that are really loose, but everything else about this is fantastic. Both of these, I think they nailed out of the park. That is the early version of Perfect Cell there, or actually this is a Premium Colors Edition. This is the first, there's, a first form Cell. I believe that came out earlier this year or sometime at the end of last year. I don't think we have the other versions of Cell yet, and we don't have an updated one of Perfect Cell, but I am very excited for when they do update that, because this is a fantastic Perfect Cell. It's just that it really does need to be updated, in proportions need to be a little bit bigger. This was kind of a pain to get, and that re-release pre-order was a nightmare compared to Boo. Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I got mine from Entertainment Earth. It was pretty pricey, unfortunately, because their shipping is not great. And they shipped the box to me, damaged. I really wanted to keep it in the box, but it was pretty damaged to where I was just like, it's mine. I might as well take it out. But it is a fantastic figure. It's just very top heavy, unfortunately. And then we have Full Power Goku here, which a lot of you are familiar with. You see this at Targets all of the time. Let's move this one here for a second. And, for a $35 figure, it is pretty decent. It could be much better. I know some people are ready to move on from this Goku body. I still think it works for this. The hair color is fine, but some of those face plates are just not fantastic to me, if you ask me. Don't think I forgot about this, though. I was lucky that I decided to get this. Great Saiyaman here. And this was my... Well, I do actually own the first version of Young Gohan from the Cell Saga. I don't have that in the display right now. But that exact version needs to be updated. I know that we have the battle damage version, but still. So this was technically my second Gohan, I believe. But, I didn't know that this was going to come with, a normal Gohan head and a Super Saiyan Gohan head. And I'm really glad, even though those are kind of outdated at this point, they don't look that great to me now that we have the new Gohan. I was really glad to have ordered this for like $50 when it was on Amazon. And those accessories came with it. It was a pleasant surprise when those accessories came with it, because I didn't know. And overall, it is a really nice figure. I think maybe you should get a re-release or updated version, maybe an event exclusive release even. But this is fantastic, which is unfortunately, if I could speak, sold out by now. But a re-release would be super sick for it. This is right here, the first version of Warrior Awakening Goku. I was not able to get the Tamashii Nations World Tour version. I wish they released that on Premium Bandai, but I'm glad that I do own the original one. A couple of paint scuffs here and there, but nothing super major. I got this back in I want to say 2015, 2016. My grandma is a complete badass. She knew I wanted to get this, and she made sure to get the right Goku for me for Christmas. So thank you, Grandma. I love you super much. And yeah, tell your grandma you love her. This is, love it. Almost no problems with it, except maybe the colors now compared to the new version. Colors are a little, not as great, but I still love this figure. It's one of my favorites in my entire collection, not just Dragon Ball. I did recently review the new Super Saiyan, the full power version, I guess, of Vegeta here. It's not much different from the Cell Saga version. It is still a really nice alternative to that, and it's pretty cheap. A lot of us know about this, Saiyan Raised on Earth version of Goku, and it is a really fantastic version. They've released it like 4 times by now, just because, they're going to do that with this figure. If they ever update the entire body of this uniform here, because I know they're doing it for the new Goku, the 3.0 Goku, but if they do the details where, it's the full gi and all that, I'd be interested to see how that works out. And this also surprisingly sold out. I'm not surprised it sold out because it's been a couple years now, but when it did sell out, it skyrocketed. And this is the Ultra Instinct Goku. which is a really nice figure. I really do like this figure a lot. I think it's just, there's really not much to say about it that's different from previous Gokus on the 3.0 body. But a lot of the details on it are really nice, like a lot of the scratching going on there. It's just pretty cool. Hopefully a lot of you own it by now. I think it was pretty available, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't. I did get Zamasu here from a local hobby store for like 40 bucks, but there was like a strand of the hair that had a lot of paint chips on there, but I've been able to get that off by now and fix that. It is a really nice looking figure. I know that there was also I think a premium Bandai version with different colors, but I think that this one is just as good. The effects piece it comes with is pretty nice, and it's got some pretty good accessories overall. It's just the purple like arm and all that, it just kind of doesn't look great, unfortunately, that it comes with. And then I think like almost 2 years ago at this point, I reviewed the Rose version of the Goku Black, and I do hope that they do re-release the normal Goku Black, but this being for 35 bucks is a really nice alternative. Again, I do wish they charged a little bit more and gave us a new, normal head, but I am glad to have a Goku Black in my collection regardless. We also have Bardock here, which again sold out. When it did sell out, it was just gone like that. For a while, it was pretty abundant and was on sale for a bit. But this Bardock here is a really nice figure, and it has had a re-release since. The biceps are pretty tight on a lot of people's, including mine, but I haven't had a break yet. Still a really nice figure. Had to take a quick break from recording. This is the Scouter Vegeta, and I'm really glad to have the correct version, because I think like 2018, 2019, I was in the market to get this one, and then the new Trunks is covering it. But I was also trying to get at the same time the Cell Saga Vegeta, which, as you see now, I have both. And, I said this in the review already. This here is not much different than the Cell Saga Vegeta. But if you don't own that Cell Saga Vegeta, then, you have the new one as a good alternative. I was so glad to get both Scouter Vegeta and Cell Saga when I did, because they were just on the cusp of selling out. And I accidentally ordered the wrong versions of some before, and I was able to get returns from different retailers that I ordered them from. They're on the 1.0 bodies, and these are on the 2.0 bodies. So these figures, it's really nice that even though skin tones are slightly different, the heads are compatible with each other. So you can put the base head of the Scouter Vegeta on the the Cell Saga version as well. You can even know it's not accurate. If you wanted to, you could put this head on there as well. The head pieces are very compatible, and they both look really fantastic. You can see that the blue is a little bit more faded on the the Cell Saga version compared to Scouter. And of course, the Scouter look for this Vegeta is fantastic. I believe they're going to re-release another Vegeta. If you you pay attention, you see the boots are different. I believe the boots are going to be different when they release the base form. Re-release of Vegeta whenever that happens. I don't know. They have teased that at some conventions, and we just don't know much about it yet. I am going a little bit all over the place, but you do see that that DL Customs head on there. But I do have the superhero version of Gohan here. Can't wait for Beast Gohan. My favorite figure of last year. I really, really like this figure. I would have paid more, though, for all of his accessories to come with the actual figure. I just don't like that they were locked behind Premium Bandai. If they were normal release stuff, I've said this before time and time again. If those, figures from Superhero were mainline figures, I wouldn't be complaining as much as premium Bandais that are limited in time. And so that's just what I'm going to leave it there. Fantastic figure, though, and that DL Customs head is not very bad either. We also have this new Trunks here. I've already reviewed it. Some disappointments to it, if you ask me, but overall the actual sculpting, the amount of accessories to this figure is fantastic, and it is a really nice figure. QC is a big bummer here. We do also have two more figures I need to talk about, and I actually forgot to mention, one of the earlier Super Saiyan Gokus, I also own that, just don't have it right now. That was on the 1.0 body, as well as the original Son Goku as well. That one on the 1.0 body, I have that. And I don't know if I'm forgetting any other figures in the Dragon Ball SH Figuarts line right now that I might have, but after I talk about these two, that's about it when it comes to out of my box stuff, because we have the, you know, updated 2021, I believe, 2022, I think, version of Krillin. Very happy to have Krillin. And this body here for it, the updates on here are really fantastic. I love just about everything going on with this figure. I think if it came with a smiling head, though, it would have been nice, but everything else about it is fantastic. And I believe this is the Resurrection F version of Frieza, because it came with the halo. I could be wrong, and they did re-release it in different colors, I think like a year and a half to 2 years ago. I think it's still pretty available depending on where you search. This one here, though, it is a really fantastic figure, and it does have some more blue highlights throughout the muscles and all that. The only thing to complain about with this figure, and it's like this with other Friezas, and it's not really going to be a complaint that much because of how the character is designed, the tail is pretty bottom heavy, and it just makes him fall over a bunch. But if you position his legs in a certain way and get, you know, his tail position, it's usually all fine. So yeah, that already took a while, but this is everything I got out of the box when it comes to the Dragon Ball line. Now, as you can see, we're not exactly done with the Dragon Ball line, oh dear God, but we do have a bunch of boxed figures here. These are all exclusives, whether that be event exclusives, mostly San Diego Comic-Con, or premium Bandai exclusives. I have more event exclusives, actually, it turns out, than just premium Bandai stuff, which is interesting. Well, most of it is from premium Bandai, though, so let's get that out of the way. But a lot of Comic-Con exclusives I didn't even realize I had. So what I want to do first is just one by one quickly talk about them, a lot of which are very valuable right now. This is probably one of the most valuable ones, the Ultra Instinct Sign Goku here, which there's a big fiasco about trying to get these. They had to have a whole second order date just because of how horrible the event exclusive fiasco was with this. And then a lot of us thought ours sank to the bottom of the ocean, which thankfully no one's did, I believe. So there's that. But, you know, I actually just took all these out of the shipper just now. Like, I've had all these in the shipping boxes. I still have those. And then I've not opened a single one of these because these will retain their value over time. And that one is really fantastic. And then this is the 2019 exclusive Gohan I was mentioning earlier. And this one's really nice too. I do have some slight creases in my box. I don't remember if that was how it was shipped to me or if it's just me by now. But it has been like 4 years since I got this. And while I do like it and I think it looks nice, it is on the 1.0 body. I'm glad that we have an updated Gohan, so the value of this is not really retained too much, especially mine won't because it has a couple box marks, but this has not been opened yet, so, you know, there's that. But I am, you know, I'm in the market to kind of get rid of it. I don't really know yet. Another 2020 exclusive to go back to 2020. I know I flip-flopped for a second. So glad I was also able to get the premium colors version, it's event exclusive color edition actually, of Android 18, one of my most sought after figures. I was never able to get this in the past until it was too late and it was too expensive, so I'm glad I do have the event exclusive version. This is a fantastic figure and a lot of people are happy with it, even though it doesn't really come with the it doesn't come with that kissing face for Krillin, but you know, that was an old Krillin head. Now I have the new one and it's not going to work if they re-release that accessory with the Android 18. And then we have Android 17 here, which is also an updated color edition. The colors on this do look better compared to the original, if you ask me. I again haven't opened this one, but this one also is very fantastic. I did my hardest to get all 3 of the 2020 event exclusives, and I was able to, thank God. So that's always nice to see. Gonna go ahead and get him out of the way, Tien, and oh gosh, I forget how to actually get pronounced that. But Tien here and this little guy here, some of you are gonna absolutely roast me in the comments. But this is a pretty nice exclusive too. Part of me just wish it wasn't an exclusive because a lot of us had been needing an updated Tien for a long time. And for them to lock it off behind a premium Bandai and make it a 2-pack and make it like 80 to 85 bucks, not including shipping. Yeah, that's a bother to me. But you know, I did need this in case we were going to get that updated Yamcha, I've been needing to complete my Z Fighters in my collection for a long time, so we have this updated TN here, and now Yamcha is currently for pre-order on Premium Bandai. I just hope that we get a Roshi re-release at some point, and then I'll finally have all my Z Fighters. So there's that. Now we're going to move on actually to 2021 exclusives with Beerus here. Again, this one I actually passed up on in person at a GameStop. I can't believe how much of an idiot I was. But this was at a GameStop of mine like 2017, 2018. I can't remember exactly when it came out. But once I passed it up and then it got hard to find, yeah, I ended up looking like a big dumbass to myself. But I was glad I was able to get this Beerus here. There were like 3 different waves to get the pre-order for this. And I got the second one because the first one sold out super quick on day 1. Then they did a day 2 and I was able to get those. So I got those quicker than some other people, which thankfully. But either way, I'm glad everyone was able to get their Beerus who was able to pre-order it. And the third release of this was the easier one. That was the one that was timed for like a week or something like that. I remember exactly. But I'm just glad to have a Beerus. And these colors on this Beerus here are really fantastic. I did not get the red, the Super Saiyan God red Goku, unfortunately. We'll talk about you in a second. I do want to talk about Whis. I'm glad I was able to also get Whis. It was definitely Whis and Beerus I had to get in my collection since I missed out on both of these. I never saw this one in person though, so I just was super broke when these came out, and I was like still in college, so I just didn't have enough for stuff that wasn't Marvel Legends. And even then I was cherry picking Marvel Legends, and now I have a little bit better of a disposable income to where I was able to get this as well as Beerus and a bunch of these other ones too. So yeah, super glad. I'm still a bit of a broke SOB, but either way, I'm happy to have Whis and Beerus in the collection. And these colors on this also look fantastic. Okay, I will get to the 16 in a second, but this one I was a little bit more reluctant to pre-order from Premium Bandai. The first ever adult Bulma in the line was a Premium Bandai exclusive. It was a cheaper one, but with that shipping still, it really wasn't all that cheap. But yeah, I'm glad to have a Bulma in the collection. I just haven't really opened it. I'm hoping I just keep it in the box, and then in the future, if I have, if I need cash for a rainy day or something, if a big emergency happens, I'll be able to sell off a bunch of these collectibles, especially these boxed ones here. Hopefully this one, even though it's not super duper valuable, I guess it's good to have, I guess, in case I want to keep it or sell it or even just have it, in the box or out of the box to pose with my Vegeta. That's how I'm trying to justify this one here, because again, a little reluctant to pick this one up, but either way, it's cool that we have a Bulma. Just wish I wasn't a Premium Bandai exclusive. Okay, I'll talk about the one in the back because that was like almost 2 years ago at this point. But we do have the 2022 exclusives, and we have Android 16. It's right in the box. I don't know why I'm blanking. This part of the video is going on way too long. This whole video should have just been for Dragon Ball. But yeah, this here is a really nice one. I was super excited to get this because back in 2020 when we got 18 and 17, I also thought to myself, they need to re-release 16 as an event exclusive. And originally I also thought they should do Krillin, and I'm glad that we have an update instead of a re-release. So this one though didn't really need an update because the previous version, from what I understood, was really great, and it's even better now with these new colors, and I think it looks better too. I just haven't opened it, and I'm not going to open it for now. I want to keep it in the box to retain the value, but I am super glad I was able to get this. And last year's pre-orders for the event exclusives were super duper easy, even though everyone had to wait a super long time. I'm fine with that as long as everyone, myself included, gets a chance to at least pre-order this. And I think it was like a week or 2 that we had a chance to do that. I'll talk about Majin Buu in 1 second. So I do have something weird going on in the box here. There's like something sticky there. But here's Cooler Final Form. One of the most, I guess it's one of the most acclaimed, I guess depending on who you ask. But if you ask people who have this figure, they would say this is one of the best Premium Bandai figures that they've ever released. Should have been a mainline, I guess. There's some quality control issues I heard people have with theirs. I have yet to open mine, but this thing does look fantastic. And this is just a really nice, big, wide box. And everything about it looks really cool. Again, I just haven't really decided to open it yet because I knew it was going to be pretty valuable. So either way, though, this cooler looks fantastic. Glad to have it in my collection. Last but certainly not least, when it comes to my event exclusives in my collection, we are going to be looking at Majin Buu here. I also really wanted this to be re-released. Well, I wanted more of a normal release than, because Evil Buu got a normal release. I was hoping this would get a normal re-release. Same thing with that Evil Buu. I'm running out of steam here, but I'm glad that I was at least able to get this new, good Buu. So I've been wanting it for a long time. I skipped out on it, regret skipping out on it, and now I got my second chance. And yeah, it's really fantastic. So that's a lot of boxed figures and even more open figures for the Dragon Ball line. That's just Dragon Ball so far. I still need to go on the other stuff. We're going to be here for a while. Thank God for those timestamps. But one thing that isn't here yet is Pan is coming in either this week or next, in like a week and a half from now, I guess. So yeah, that's another premium Bandai. I could have waited to do this part of the video until Pan came in, but I decided not to. But she will be another premium Bandai I get eventually. And then some other stuff that has not shipped yet. So if Dragon Ball take the top spot of me owning a lot of figures in that series, this one here, Jujutsu Kaisen, takes the number 2 spot, and then it kind of dwindles in terms of how many I have from each series from here on out. So I'll try to make these each section's pretty quick. The majority of this video I think was Dragon Ball, but as you see here, we're on to Jujutsu Kaisen, the SH Figuarts stuff. I don't own any of the stuff from Good Smile for their Figma line. I've heard some good things about some figures. I've heard some bad things about some figures, so I don't really think I want to get mixed up in trying to collect another or complete another line of Jujutsu Kaisen figures. I'll stick with the SH Figuarts stuff. Some of these aren't perfect, but I have a lot of fun with these figures, and this is one of my favorite anime. These figures are really fantastic. I've reviewed all of these here that you see here, so I'm not going to spend too much time, or I'm going to try not to, just because you see my full thoughts by now. I love these figures, most of these. This is the first Yuji. I haven't taken off this face from the new Sukuna yet, but love this figure. Not much else to talk about. We're probably getting an update in the future. And then we have the Gojo that came out around the same time or right after. I got this in like May of 2021, and then this like a month after. And this made my top 10 of 2021. It's my top figure, I believe, of that year. Loved it a lot. And then we get to Megumi Fushiguro, which I want to love, but I just kind of like it. It's not a god-awful figure, but unfortunately, I don't think it's perfect. It was a little bit cheaper than the others. It's just that, man, they really disappointed with the amount of accessories. They never should have given this figure an extra Sukuna face for Yuji. They really should have given this guy his own, like, grit teeth face, because he just comes with a stern face and a screaming face, or extra hands and a weapon to hold, hands to hold that weapon, I should say. Or I would pay $90 for an articulated demon dog with this figure, or even $100. But I don't think they were at that point. But they might be. I don't know. Hopefully another figure in the future will come with an accessory for him. But it's still pretty decent. It just could be better. And the articulation and the torso is pretty bad on my particular figure. But this figure is great. Nobara is a fantastic figure. I think it was also like $55. Comes with pretty much everything you need, except for I did realize she doesn't come with a straw doll accessory like the Figma one does, so I wish she came with that, but this figure is fantastic. And then we get on to the stuff I reviewed last year, which there was really only 2 figures. I know these were from last year, and then these were the only 2 from 2021, and then we did have the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero version of Satoru Gojo, and I think there's some things about this I like a little bit more than the first Gojo. I do kind of prefer the first Gojo just a little bit, but the amount of accessories with this newer one is really fantastic. All the different hands and the effects piece, yeah, it's awesome. Then Yuta, which is like made my number 2 of the like entire 2022 list. This is a fantastic figure, but I've heard there's people with issues with the legs, of just the legs snapping at some point. I have not had that yet. Fingers crossed I don't get there. Then this year I reviewed the Sukuna figure, which you guys have seen my thoughts on that probably. I do wish that they made a more robes version. I understand what they were doing to try to get some more use out of that Yuji base. Or not even the base, just the legs really. But this is still a pretty awesome figure. And then I believe like last month, almost a month ago, I reviewed the Suguru Geto figure, and there's some things I don't love about it, and there's some things I do really like about it. The overall look is really nice. This is from Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I can't predict what we might get in the future. Probably, if you know what's gonna happen this upcoming season, a young Gojo and a Toji is probably gonna happen. Maybe even a young Suguru Geto. I don't really know what all we could get, but we might get updated versions for the Shibuya arc as well whenever they get to that. So, fingers crossed. And I know that they have teased a Todo figure, but we don't know when that's coming out yet. One figure I hope we really get in the future is Maki Zen and Nanami. Those are some of my favorite characters in the whole series that we haven't had SH Figuarts figures for. So I want them all for the series. I don't think it's going to happen with some characters, but hopefully others that I really like will get some figures soon. Now we move on to Naruto, and I have 6 figures here. 2 of them are in the box. As you see on the right, we have an event exclusive Madara Uchiha. I decided, you know what? Even though I missed the premium Bandai pre-order, I'll pre-order one from Big Bad Toy Store, and if I got it, will, you know, it will ship in a month. I have a month to decide. It shipped in a week after I did that pre-order last year, so I'm not too mad about it though, because I'm glad I do have it. I'm sure they'll update it in the future, hopefully not in the near future, but I am glad to have Madara. I'm gonna try my best to get the new Jiraiya. That's gonna be an Anime Expo exclusive, but we'll have to wait and see. And then you do see over on the left, that is the recently reviewed Naruto, the Kid Naruto, that I reviewed, and I repackaged it just because I might have to. It might be too late, but I need to contact Ami about possibly a replacement, or just go through Amazon at this point and just get another one, since this was like $35. Because the legs on my figure, the quality overall for my particular figure is god awful. It is really, really bad, at least on my particular figure. So that's where I'm at with that. I don't have it to display right now. But just like with some of these other figures, we're getting to the point where I've reviewed like most of the stuff here. We do have Naruto from Shippuden that I reviewed last year on the channel, and I really like this figure. I think at this point now that I've owned it for a while, I've seen people not really complain, but just notice that the skin tone's a little too pale on this. I do kind of agree. And then Sasuke, the new one from Shippuden as well. And yeah, it's way too short. He's supposed to be the same height as Naruto, I'm pretty sure. So that's my biggest complaint. And I forgot I had the face on this, but then we had Sakura. We finally had Sakura in the SH Figuarts line that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. And then Kakashi that I reviewed this year, which works for both a a first series version of Kakashi and a Shippuden version. Super happy to have that figure. It is a fantastic figure. And then also, we're gonna get Obito as well as Orochimaru. There's teasing of, I can't tell you what might be teased in the future. I'm hoping we get Tsunade, since we're getting figures of the Sannin again. At this point, I don't think we had Orochimaru. Yeah, we didn't have Orochimaru in the beginning. Jiraiya's getting re-released. We never had Tsunade. It's time. There's a bunch of other figures they need to make too, but those are really some of the ones I can think of, at least at the top of my head right now. Maybe like an updated Itachi, but that's really it. Next up is SPY Family for the SH Figuarts line, and I did already review all of these figures, so I'm going to go through them really quick. So, first one we ever got was this, Anya in her normal outfit here. Pretty good figure. It just, the faces were good on it. It's just, unfortunately, because of the character design, it's a little limited in what you can do in terms of posability, as well as it's really top heavy and her feet are really small, so that's something to consider. And then Lloyd came out a month after, and this figure, it looks good, but I'm disappointed with overall, not really the quality, it's just that the legs are so wobbly. I guess that is part of the quality. The legs are so wobbly, his feet are kind of loose to where he just doesn't want to stand properly. So hopefully they fix that with the next one coming out at the end of the year. Then we have another Yor coming out at the end of the year, but this one here, Thorn Princess outfit, fantastic. There's some things I think like they could have done a little bit better. I think she's also a little bit hard to stand, mostly because of her heels. But there's very little wrong with this figure. I think this is one of their best female figures that they've ever made for the SH Figuarts line, if I'm being honest. It's not just because I'm a simp. But also the recently reviewed on this channel uniform version of Anya. which I do think is the preferred version, if I'm being honest. Not just in terms of this being an outfit that she wears the most of, but the amount of faces for that figure are really fantastic. It's only like $10 more than the regular version you see on the right. So I don't know what else they could make in this line. I know we're getting Anya and Bond in a pack in the future. I'm not sure about that yet. Maybe we could get like Nightfall or Frankie in the future, but I don't think they would sell super well. So if they make any more figures for this line, they're probably going to be just different versions of the Forger family, which I understand, but I kind of hope they delve into some other characters. I'm not touching Gunpla today. I'm really not. At least the model kits, I'm not touching those. We're going to be here for years. I am going to go over some of the more articulated non-model kit figures in the Gundam line. I forgot I do have a decent number of stuff. I'm just going to bind it all in one. We have stuff from the Robot Spirits line as well as the 6-inch Gundam Universe line. As you'll see, if it's the most notable mobile suit in the entire franchise, or some of them at least, I get one of each version. For Robot Spirits, the 6-inch Gundam Universe, as well as the model kits. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not going to do that with every single, lead Gundam, I don't think. I'm going to get to all those shows. I still need to watch a fair number of them. But, of course, I did review this already. We do have the Robot Spirits RX-78-2. Fantastic figure. And same thing with the Robot Spirits Barbados, which if I didn't act when I did, like a month before the pandemic really kicked off, I would never have been able to get this because I just would not have been able to. With how the state of the world was back then in like 2020. So I think I paid like $65-$70, which is a bit a lot, but I'm glad I do have it because I was completely sold out at this point. Then we have the 6-inch RX-78-2 here, which is like the very first one, I believe, in the entire line. Rightfully so. It's the OG. Yeah, very good. And eventually they did release Char's Custom Zaku. I do have that one too. It's a little, it's supposed to be bulky, but its bulkiness gets in the way, unfortunately, of some things. But it's not bad. And then we have Strike Gundam, which is, I think, I don't own many of these, but from what I do own, that's my personal favorite for this particular line. And then we do have Barbados, which is my least favorite. It's not god-awful. I think there's some inaccuracies in terms of proportions, but it's still a decent figure. And then I have boxed stuff I just haven't gotten around to opening. I think I'm just going to keep the value of these for now. And then if I like these shows and I want to open them, then I have them to open. But I have the re-released Robot Spirits Char's custom model here, which got re-released last year. Also, what came out last year was the Robot Spirits Strike Gundam, as well as the effects parts and that backpack piece, as well as the ground type Gundam. I think came out either 2021 or early 2022. And then I decided to pick up the GPO-1, this first touch version from Big Bad Toy Store, because it was a little bit cheap. It was the only one that was, I think, available compared to the regular GPO-1, which sold out like immensely, I think, at this point. But this one I don't think is as different as the original release in the Robot Spirits line. And I think mine was only like 70, so I think that's a pretty good deal. So now on to some Robot Spirits Eva figures. I'm going to quickly go over these. I reviewed all these already, so there's not much else to say. But Unit 1 here, really fantastic figure. There are, all of these look really, they're from the rebuilds, but they also just give off the vibe of the original. There's differences between the rebuild and original designs, just ever so slightly, but they work for both, I think, when it comes to these figures, except for Unit 0, since that was blue in the original series and it's yellow in the rebuilds. But also this one looks really good. My opinion on the rebuilds, kind of indifferent on them. That's why I haven't picked up a Unit 8 Robot Spirits figure. I don't really know if I ever am going to, but honestly, I know this sounds kind of blasphemous, but I might repaint this Unit 0 to be blue instead of yellow, because I'd rather it just be blue. No, the details may not be super accurate, but I digress. Still really nice figures, even though, regardless of my opinion of the rebuilds. This one, too, just is a fantastic Unit 2 figure. Again, I reviewed all of these. Some of these, I think, are re-releases. At least, I think, I could be wrong, and all of them are re-releases, or they all could be. I just forget. Some of these are definitely re-releases. I believe Unit 1 is. And then they did a best selection version of Unit 1, I think, either last year or they're going to do it this year. I don't remember exactly. That was like some exclusive. But either way, I only have 3 of these Avas. I think that I'm good to just get 3 of these. They're fantastic, though. We are now at the point with SH Figuarts where I really only own 1 per series at this point. 1 or 2, of course, as you see. From left to right, we do have Lena, Vladilena Milize, I believe is how you say her name. From 86, a pretty great anime, honestly. This figure itself is pretty nice. It's just not an exceptional figure. You really got to be a big fan of the series to want this figure, and me being a pretty decent fan of it, it's pretty good. We do have some other Chainsaw Man SH Figuarts coming out, but they're not out exactly yet. But I did review this a couple months ago. It's one of my favorite figures of the year so far. And then we have 2 figures here for my favorite anime of all time. Cowboy Bebop, of course, Spike and Vicious, which they really should have made Faye first. And then wait for Vicious. Because now we don't have the Faye prototype that we should have in our hands right now from all those years ago. We never got a look at Jet Black. We never got any kind of confirmation about, Ed and Ein either. So it's disappointing that this line ended the way it did. I hope they reconsider one day and maybe update the figures and give us the full Bebop crew. Okay, finally moving on to Figma, a Growth Smile company stuff here. The Figma line, I used to really love it, and over the years I have kind of fallen out of love with it just because they don't really make some great figures anymore, in my opinion. Not god awful, but it could be better. But similar to Dragon Ball line, if there's one series that have a lot of characters in the Figma line, it's going to be Fate here. As you see, the 3 in the front are from Stay Night. Back are going to be from Fate Go. So we're going to start with this figure I reviewed last year. One of my favorite figures of last year. One of my favorite female figures of all time. Not just because I'm a simp, but the Rider 2.0 is a fantastic figure. This is like, I may question Good Smile sometimes. This here is a genuinely amazing figure. Some setbacks, it's a little loose in some areas, but it's still a fantastic figure. My camera dropped for a second. And then I was able to get the 2.0 version of Saber before she sold out, and she's super hard to get now. Unfortunately, she's been released like 3 times. People have been really wanting that. I mean, it's Saber, of course. And this exact version is really nice. And then we have Lancer Kukulane here. I may not be saying that name entirely right. I got this used from a site called Solaris Japan. I don't think they noticed this, but the gripping hands are like the paint rub off is really bad because his lance is red and those hands are red. I don't think they noticed that. I'm kind of annoyed about that, unfortunately. One thing I did know about is that belt piece, they did show me it is scuffed up from the person who did own it. I can paint that on my own later. But this Kukulane is also an amazing figure. They need to engineer more of their stuff like this. Okay, now on to Fate Go. Miyamoto Musashi, birthday 2021. Some friends got some cash together, and they got this for me. And, yeah, really fantastic figure. A little limited in some areas. And we have the new Berserker version, which I heard is pretty good. And then we have Jean d'Arc, which I have reviewed on the channel. Pretty good. Also has some limitations, but not too bad. And then, so actually, I got Kukulane earlier this year, and but right before, I got really lucky with a used figure on Ami Ami. I say that because this tape was still on. I think they just saw the box was kind of scuffed. This was a brand new figure. I got it for just a little bit over $100, even though she's going for like 150, 200 on some places. Been wanting to get a Skyhawk for a long time, and Ami Ami came in with the hookup. She's a little back heavy because of the hair pieces, but I'm really glad to have the 2 Lancers I've been really wanting forever in this line. There's a couple other Fate characters I haven't gotten yet. I will try to get those eventually, but not the strongest Fate setup here. They need to update some characters too, like Rin, as well as Shiro and some other characters, but I'm happy with what I have here. These are some of my more favorite servants in the Fate series. Moving on to my Demon Slayer Figmas, I have the 4 main characters of the series here, and I am not going to get any more. I don't own any of the BUZZmod ones because I need to pay rent. And, yeah, it's not just because I'm not the biggest fan of this series. Don't get me wrong, it's a pretty good series. I just don't love it like a lot of other people. It's nowhere near like my top 10 or top 20, if I'm being honest. But it's a pretty good series. I did want to get these figures just because I wanted the 4 main cast. Now that I have the Figmas of them, I regret it. I don't like these figures very much. I think the one I like the most, honestly, Tanjiro is a pretty good one. Zenitsu's fine. Nezuko, not great. And Inosuke, I would love to love that figure because they did a really good job on a lot of things with it. But I have reviews of all of these that you see here. And Inosuke has the worst QC out of all of them, with really, really loose joints that shouldn't be there. It's just Nezuko also is not very fun to pose around. The engineering for her is abysmal when it comes to the legs. It's just the kimono, the skirt of the kimono just gets in the way too much. They have a useless interchangeable kimono piece. You don't need it. Yeah, I think the other two are fine. I just... they ain't it. They ain't it, Chief. We are now at the point again where if it's different miscellaneous, anime, if I have like 2 or less from each series, I'm gonna put it at this part of the video. I really don't get any other Figmas that aren't anime related, so this is just about everything you've seen about is all the Figmas I own. Definitely not as many as SH Figuarts. It would probably be more if some of the quality control just wasn't getting worse and worse for some of these releases. It just feels like there is something wrong with each figure I am personally getting. And I'm going to start with, the far left and right ones, the Promare figures. And if you're not familiar with this movie, it's a Trigger movie. I love this movie. It's not, it's very style over substance, but I think it's fantastic. Now, it's cool. It's a cool figure, this Gallo here. It's just really, 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 really expensive. It's some type of exclusive. Big Bad Toy Store had it for $150 for a long time. They dropped the price at one weekend. I was able to get it for like a little over $100. I would not pay $150 for this. And even that, like a little over $100. It does come with a big like Toy Tech thing, so I can see why it's so expensive. But also the torso joints, both sections are loose. It just seems like there's so much looseness in so many of my Figmas I've been getting lately. Now, Leo here, $70 on Amazon, and yeah, it's a really good figure for that price. It doesn't come with that much stuff, unfortunately, but there's no problems in terms of the quality. So I'll be fair there. They did a really good job with this one. But if anyone here thought that the scaling, I don't really know how tall all these people are supposed to be in comparison, but if anyone thought scaling in the SH Figuarts lines were pretty horrendous within some of those lines, like Dragon Ball can have pretty bad scaling in the SH Figuarts line. Look how different just the sizing of all of these characters are here. So Gallo towers over, like he's like a good 2 feet tall compared to some of these characters. Speaking of, let's keep going. The only Attack on Titan figures I own, I actually own a Kodabukio model kit I have not fixed up yet, unfortunately. But I do own the Levi Figma that I did review last year for my Anime Week specials. Same thing with Irvin here. He was also part of the Anime Week specials that I had last August. I have yet to get the Eren, Mikasa, and Armin ones. They're too expensive, and I wish that they would be re-released by Good Smile at this point, but I don't think they're going to. I do wish we got maybe some more characters in the Figma line for Attack on Titan. I'm surprised with how popular it has been right before it's ending now, or the 5 different endings they've teased, that we don't have really any other articulated characters from that line. So it's interesting. Now talk about Kill la Kill, one of my favorite animes of all time. Birthday 2020, same thing with Miyamoto Musashi. My buddies got some cash together and they got me this. This is one of my personal favorites in my collection. It's one of the funniest figures I own. It comes with a ton of funny accessories. And you see in the background there, I did buy Satsuki. I got her right before she sold out. Now, unfortunately, I've just kind of told myself this. I will not open Satsuki until I get a Ryuko. Ryuko's Figma has been re-released like 3 or 4 times, unfortunately, so I don't think it's ever going to again. But I would love to get it just to it's super expensive, like $200, $300 at this point. It's just insane. But I would love for them to re-release it at least just one more time so I could pick it up. And then I'll have all of the Figma, Kill la Kill characters. And then I do have, I believe that's the 2045 version of Kusanagi there. I still want to get into the Ghost in the Shell series. I've seen bits and pieces of the different shows. I've watched the movie a couple times. It's a great film. I did want to pick up a Kusanagi just to have in my collection. This one was like $70 on sale on BUZZmod's website one day. So, you know, maybe not some people's preferred version, but as an actual figure itself, it's pretty nice. It does come with the interchangeable torso with the jacket arms, but one of the shoulder joints is so stiff it's quite literally about to break, and that's another problem. I don't want to go into tangents about, you know, the problems with Good Smile, but lately with some of these figures, I can't help but get really irked when there's some problems with this line, you know? Now we move on to the Kyoto Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia figures. As you see here, these are some of the ones that I have actually reviewed all of these, and I do need to redo the review for Deku because there was a really bad, there's some kind of exporting error on that one, so I haven't had that up for a while. I need to redo that review. But as you see, I just have 4 right now. I don't own Hawks or Endeavor, if I'm being honest. There's so much stuff already coming out, and I'm not really that big of a fan of those characters to where I think I'm going to skip on those. I may regret it in the future, but I don't really think I need a Endeavor figure anytime soon. Hawks is okay. These characters that you see here, though, I am a big fan of these characters. Also, I have pre-ordered the Kirishima figure because he's one of my favorite characters in the show. So, yeah, there's that. If I really, really like the character, I'm definitely going to pre-order it in the My Hero series. I don't love the series anymore, unfortunately. I kind of fell off after season 4, if you ask me. But I have fond memories of, you know, seasons 1 through 3 enough to get these figures here. So, Deku is a really nice figure. There's really not much else for me to say that I need to redo the review again. God dang. You know, you'll notice the way that they have sculpted these was unique to how Yamaguchi, the sculptor, has made these, but they still really fit with, if you ask me, in the style of My Hero, that art style. And yeah, that is undeniably Deku. Like, that is a fantastic looking figure. Then we have the Todoroki. And I don't remember if I said this in the review, but either over time or even when I got it, the torso joint is extremely loose, unfortunately. But this is still a really nice figure, I think. There's some things I think are not perfect about it. It's really bowed-legged. Like, look at that. This is bent outward. There's some other things I think they could have done better. I think maybe the head sculpt could have been a little bit better. But I personally think this is still a really nice figure. I'm glad I didn't get the Figma one. I did forget that I have the Figma My Hero figures, but they're gone. Yeah, I don't really know where they are anymore. I also own the amazing Yamaguchi Bakugo. And even though these damn gauntlets are a nightmare, and I know some people have done a fix, and I haven't done the fix yet, everything else about it is fantastic. The look of it, the sculpting, the other accessories, all those flame effects are really sick. And of course, we have All Might. So I'm glad I do have the re-releases. I was nervous for a time that they weren't going to re-release All Might because, you know, they re-released Deku and they just didn't give any word for a long time about a re-release of All Might. Finally got it. I really like it, man. Way better than the McFarlane Toys one. I know some people, I don't really know if anyone was excited for this, but I think a while ago they said that, or like Good Smile said that they would make one for the Figma line. They never did a prototype. Honestly, keep it shelved because this thing is pretty great. I think some of the joints get broken up a little too much in the upper torso, but it's still really fantastic. Once again, like I said, you know, I may not love this series anymore, but I love these figures. Now, while I was editing this video, I had to come back to implement this part here. This really should be at the end where I talk about miscellaneous anime and you know, toy companies, but I'll give Medicos their own little spot here to talk about the Super Action Statue, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, Jotaro, and Star Platinum. The only 2 JoJo figures I own in my collection. I could have gotten more like Dio and The World. Those were 2 I really wanted, as well as stuff, you know, from Battle Tendency like Young Joseph, Lisa, Caesar, the Pillarman, you know, stuff from Part 4, stuff from Part 5. After getting these 2 in 2020, I think I paid like $180, $200. They were sold out originally at one point, so they had a re-release and they're still sold out again. Here's my thing, you know, I haven't done a review of these, and I don't think these are terrible. They definitely have more of a manga aesthetic to it. The paint and detailing on here is really great, and there's lots of depth going on to the shading and the paint going on. They both do look really good to me, especially Star Platinum here looking really nice. And Jojo has a real metal chain on the figure, a bunch of different hands for both characters, so I should be all about these. However, Super Action Statue here has an emphasis on the statue because even though there's articulation implemented in these things and engineered in a way to have articulation, every single joint on these two figures I own, besides maybe the elbows and knees, are super stiff. I don't know what is going on, but if you have all this stuff, all these different accessories, I know these are higher end collectibles, so people are like, you shouldn't really be playing around too much with these. There's articulation for a reason, man. Like, if I can't pose them around to where I am comfortable doing it, and when I do pose them around, it feels like I'm gonna break something. That is a problem. Okay, I don't know what's going on with with the quality of these, but like, I can't really talk like I'm an expert because I don't have that many of these figures. And there's a reason why I don't have many of these figures. These two here, while they look fantastic, are not fun. Interchanging the wrists, they get stuck a lot, at least on my particular figures. So sometimes it's a gamble if I'm going to break something or not. Other joints are really, really still. Like, I'm moving the legs around, like the hips. I feel like I'm going to break something. And there's very little range of motion in the torsos too. It's just, they're just a bit of a mess. I don't recommend Super Action Statue very much, if I'm being quite honest, just with what I have experienced so far. And they're already so expensive that I just can't. I'm sorry. I know I probably should own a few more to have a better opinion, but I just cannot recommend Medicos Super Action Statue stuff. I know they have other stuff like Fist of North Star and some other properties, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't want to say that SH Figuarts should do Jojo because they're already doing so much stuff, but somebody else, I think, should maybe have the Jojo license. There have been pretty much every character in the Super Action Statue line for Jojo has been made, so there's that. If they drop it, which they're not going to, because it makes them a lot of money actually, and they have a pretty tight grasp on Jojo. But if they drop it, you can still go back and get some of those figures. Someone else, please. I'm sorry, someone else got to do it. We are finally at the end of the video where I get to talk about just a random assortment of miscellaneous figures that I own from different companies, if it's basically 2 or less. I do have some unlicensed stuff here we'll talk about in a second. And as you see, I do have a couple model kits, even though I said I wasn't going to talk about Gunpla. I'll talk about these model kits really quick. But the first thing I want to talk about, which is a travesty that we only have this one figure. This is the Aniplex Plus BUZZmod Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood Edward Elric, and I have that funny face on there from when I took a photo a while ago. So, the overall look of this is really nice. I do wish they did some things a little bit differently, like some interchangeable arms, so that way you can have the look without this coat. Some actual, weapons and hands to hold those weapons. We don't get anything like that for, over $100. I was lucky. I got mine for 100 with a coupon, back in, 2020 when I pre-ordered it from the Crunchyroll store. That's way too much. And some places still charge $150 for it. It's still in stock because nobody wants to pay $150 for this, if you ask me, kind of basic figure. I don't mean that in a super derogatory way, but man, there's just not that much to make this worth that price. I'm sorry if you hear any begging upstairs. I don't know what's going on, but I would love this a lot more if they released an Alphonse, or if they released that Roy Mustang that they teased years ago. They had a prototype of it, and they just didn't do anything because they were so, committed to Demon Slayer, because that's what's going to make them money, and they have a lot of Demon Slayers in this line now. But we do have some other animes that they're venturing into with this line now. We do have stuff from Mashal, as well as Gurren Lagann, the actual characters of that. I'm really excited for the comic coming out. We also have stuff from Licorice Recoil, as well as Bocchi the Rock, which is actually really interesting to see. Bocchi the Rock is amazing if you haven't seen it by now. But yeah, I want to love this because I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Edward Elric is a great character, but I can't justify the price on this one, man. I'm not an Aniplex stan, unfortunately. Some people who have a lot of them will swear by them, but not me, sorry. These are the one-shot toys. Yu Yu Hakusho figures, because they're unlicensed. They can't put the characters' names on there. I don't want to say they're bootlegs, but y'all know what's going on there. But it's cool. These are really the only way we can get 112 or 6-inch style Yu Yu Hakusho figures. This is not the outfit that Yusuke comes with, by the way. I bought these on eBay. I could do a little bit of a better job, but I fixed these up a little bit to be the Dark Tournament outfit. I need to fix it up a little bit more. I need the armbands and other stuff. But the actual soft goods for this line, pretty neat actually. Again, I have a review for both of these, so if you see the Yusuke review, you know what the soft goods look like. Kurama is not great. Unfortunately, I don't love what they did with him, and some of the details are not very good. It's got some bad proportions, if you ask me. I dislike Kurama so much to where I really want someone to make an official line. I want S.H. Figuarts to do it really, really bad. Kuwabara has been on pre-order from China Model Toys and other places. You get these kind of figures for 2 years. I don't even know if that's ever coming out, and I don't think at this point, because I think that this line did pretty bad, that they're ever going to make Hiei, unfortunately. So we're never going to have any kind of 4 main characters from Yu Yu Hakusho in this line. Again, I really hope if another company comes in and makes some official figures, because I desperately need those. Love that series, one of my favorite series of all time. And another one of my favorite series of all time, Gurren Lagann. These are the Sentinel model kits. The camera almost died. That I have only reviewed the Gurren Lagann, and I was going to review Lazingan. I have stuff recorded for it. I don't know where I put the Lorgenome miniature, but yeah, I'm really behind on that review. These did get a re-release recently though, and these kits are really fun to build around. A little complex, but once you get them built, they are fantastic. Now, with Gurren Lagann, originally in the promo images, there were some details I thought that were really inaccurate, and it was really bugging me. It's these really big hip pieces as well. The crotch piece was kind of weird looking to me too. I don't know what it was, but there was something that was just off a bit about it. But having it in hand now, all of that is out the window. This is such a beautifully sculpted, fantastic figure. And yeah, the sculpting from when they pre-made the parts, they did it pretty good. And the molding of the plastic, all of that looks really nice too. I mean, if you fix up a little bit with some metallic paint on your own, it's really nice. The biggest problem with this, the stickers are a pain in the absolute ass. I am not a fan of the stickers on this thing. There's a lot of really small ones that just fall off a lot of the times. And there's also not just stickers to worry about. Glue. You have to glue some of this stuff together. And I don't really like using glue for my model kits. That's why I like Gunpla a lot. Now you get that same problem with Lorgenome, because you also have to glue a lot of stuff on him. However, this thing is engineered beautifully. The articulation system on this thing, so good. Look how clean all the plating is on this thing. It's a little, I don't know, it's a little hard to see actually. Man, this is such a great looking thing. I love Gurren Lagann. It's one of my, the actual mech is one of my favorite designs of all time. There are parts of this model kit here I like a little bit more than this one. But I cannot pick which one I love more. There's great things about both. This Lorgenome, again, is so good. I can't gush over it enough. If you haven't gotten these re-releases yet, I know Bandai has a new, it's Viral's mech, but also another Gurren Lagann out. I have that pre-ordered. Yeah, sure, maybe consider getting that. But also, these are fantastic. I love these. I swear by these. Okay. This might be my longest video on the channel, besides live streams. My first part of my collection, and it is of anime action figures. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to... Yeah, it's a lot. Some people might say, are you really a collector, or are you just a hoarder? And I would respond with, I don't have an answer, but that's a very valid question. I love a lot of the stuff I do collect. I really don't collect any of it if I don't care about these characters. Some of the stuff I do kind of regret having in the collection, but I can try to sell it off at some point. Most of the figures I do get, I really love in the collection. I still love other lines like Marvel Legends and other Black Series, stuff like that, even though those lines haven't been perfect lately. But I want to focus more on getting the anime stuff because there's more unique characters I need besides, instead of like a 19th Spider-Man or 18th Batman in my line, I need characters like Yusuke and some other anime characters I can't think of right now off the top of my head. But like Attack on Titan characters, I need those. Certain My Hero characters, other characters from Jujutsu Kaisen, particular Dragon Ball figures, I need those in my collection. So I love talking about the actual anime figures. I love anime. And I love other action figures, and we'll get to those in the next videos. The next time I make one of these, hopefully it won't be as long. I've been rambling too much. I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. If you stuck with this the entire time, I really appreciate you. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about this video, what your favorite that you saw in here was. I know there's a lot. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.